Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I am your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions Starfish, Serenity Star 13,
Hello.
DrFunctional,
Yo.
and Turkey Tock.
Hi, everybody.
How was your day, Skep?
It was a good day today. got a lot done. Dog sitting the Rhodesian Ridgeback again, so we have that excitement back here at the house. And made a big supper. Ate that, had a 2.5 hour nap, and I'm ready to party.
All right. Sorry, I was just suddenly stunned. My my Mac has decided to work with my high dynamic range monitor weirdly, so every now and then the brightness of the monitor just doubles. Ah!
It's like ghost of Steve Jobs.
Yeah, everything's cool, just listening to the intro music, and then suddenly it's like, no! So I'm getting a slight bit of echo from somebody. Yes. Okay.
Yes, you are.
We'll figure it out. So, how was your day, Functional?
Relatively boring. Just a relaxing, boring Saturday.
Well, the seasons are changing up there, I assume.
Oh, it's already changed. It's already winter.
It's already winter. That's the
Oh,
one.
yeah,
with,
everything's
that's the
covered
one
in
with the
snow.
snow, right?
The echo is
Yeah.
coming in on Serenity's channel, by the way.
She'll fix it. Let's see. No,
Well,
see, no.
that's the thing. Like, the only sound I'm making is if I touch something. That's the only time I make a movement, like with the circle. That's what I was trying to figure out. So let me see if I just mute real quick and come.
Oh, okay.
She'll get it.
Yep.
We had about 2 weeks of jacket weather, and then all of a sudden, boom, snow.
Yeah, I ordered a thing from Carhartt today. It went some sort of fleece-lined thermal sweatshirt thing, because I want to feel like I'm buddies with not Fentiman, not Fensterman. What the hell is his name? Fetterman.
Fetterwoman.
I want to feel like I'm comrades with Fetterwoman. I figure if winners like him wear Carhartt, I should wear Carhartt too.
What the hell's a Carhartt?
It's a brand of clothing typically used by people for work. I actually like their stuff, but I wouldn't say that it's always the best value.
Yeah, I find that a lot with work clothes. I'm a very pragmatic person, so I'm usually wearing some form of like work pants and a work shirt because they're thermal and oh god, Elwyn just locked the cat in the bathroom and now she's freaking out.
It's awesome.
Those kittens are fantastic.
Well, the Carhartt stuff is like 18 pocket with the little loop for the roofer's hammer made out of ripstop nylon. It's decent stuff.
Yeah. We have like I imagine it's similar to like Caterpillar, Kodiak, those kinds of things. I've just never heard of it. Isn't
your stuff all Ski-Doo brand?
Ski-Doo? What?
Yeah, isn't it Can-Am or isn't it all
Roots,
like
maybe? I don't know. No, that's cheap Chinese crap.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, almost everything is made in some place that isn't the U.S. I think a lot of the Carhartt stuff is Mexico, which is fine. Not made in not China is fine by me. You doing okay, Serenity? You got it fixed?
I think I am. I don't think I'm echoing.
You sound fine now.
Yeah, you sound fine now.
So how was your day?
It was good. It's cold here. It's like 32 degrees now.
So that's the nighttime temperature?
Yeah.
The daytime. Okay.
Well, we're supposed to get down to 19 tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow night. And like only like we're supposed to stay 32 up through the day and then 19 overnight. And then Thanksgiving week, it goes back up to 50.
Yeah, I know. It didn't get past the high 60s today. It was absolutely miserable here.
Spoken like a true Californian.
Well, I have actually been on two wheels at midnight recently when it's 38, 37. So you take 37 degrees and then add about, let's just say, the legal limit worth of wind chill.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll toughen you up.
Well, it's one of those things, like, if I saw someone riding a motorcycle in West Virginia, considering how wet it is here, I'd be like, you're asking for your death. In California, because it doesn't rain much, you all don't have to worry about black ice as often. So it's like the cold sucks, but you're not putting that much of your life in your hands.
Hey, Harry, you
Yes, sir?
want to buy some water? That's nice.
Yeah.
Got plenty of it up here.
You gonna ship it to me?
I know a guy.
Good for you.
I know a guy.
Building blocks.
You know a
of life.
guy? Yeah. Well, what I've been doing is taking gasoline, stripping out the hydrogen, and then reverse electrolyzing my own water.
Oh, that's the efficient way.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Molecule by molecule.
All of you.
I'm going to get about 100 acres of land and put what's called a fog fence on there, which basically just catches the dew at night and then condenses it down. That'll be enough.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing you
it's
can't
fine.
solve with enough money.
Yeah. Well, I've seen
Okay.
they've done that at the edge of the Sahara or something like that, which makes sense to like catch some of the water.
I actually knew a guy. Unfortunately, he passed away in a terrible skiing accident.
It's wasted, unfortunately.
He was actually working on a project to try to farm water from the atmosphere in Nevada, and he was working on this project. And he was heavily into this thing, you know, using different types of metals and holes in the ground, and he was essentially trying to funnel the moisture into the water table.
To me,
and
that
this
makes more
sounds-
sense.
Well, it
than
sounds
just
a little
using it.
kooky, but this guy was an absolutely, he was a brilliant plasma physicist who just saw a problem and thought, hey, maybe I should take my, I should try my hands at this. I was not there when this happened, but he was also working on a plan to try to recapture waste heat in like the drains of the hotels in Vegas. Because, you know, there's all this hot water that goes down the drain. What if we could somehow capture that energy? So he was busy testing temperature differentials by sticking this probe in the drains and stuff. But then the person who was working with him said, well, how do we know the probe is properly calibrated? He took it out of the drain, stuck it in his mouth, registered 98.6, and said, yeah, this is working.
Ugh, no. Blech.
Why?
No.
But I'm talking about like the kind of guy who, it's like, well, you only get so many points to build your character sheet for the D&D game of life, and he stuck all of them in one corner of the IQ box.
He said intelligence, not wisdom.
Oh no! But nice, absolutely nice guy. Completely. Well, no, they aren't all. They aren't all
I
nice.
know.
There's not an oh yeah. A lot of guys like that are not nice at all.
Yeah.
But he was nice as could be. But he George of the Jungled into a tree while skiing and unfortunately passed away, which is like, man, why does it have to happen to guys like that? Why not some shitty
Why not
douchebag of a
Nancy
person?
Pelosi?
Not like the super smart guy who's actually really a decent human being.
That's it. Just in the words of D&D, his dump stat was wisdom. Everything else was in charisma and intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. All right. Well, enough about my thing. Let's see. So I got a new headset.
Oh boy.
Okay, and this
Right.
one is not like Fong 2, because I told you I had the $20 headset, and then I got a $40 headset, which I managed to put in the washing machine. So Fong 2 is dead. So I have this new headset, which is by Blue Parrot.
Oh
Now-
God.
Right now, it actually seems to work pretty well, but there's a little voice, and it doesn't even have a hint of an accent. I think the chick's voice on the new headset, I think she's into me. I think she's trying to manipulate me with her feminine wiles. I feel like my headset, every time I turn it on, like it's flirting with me just a little bit, which feels kind of weird.
Harry.
Like,
how
I don't
long is it-
need this.
How long has it been since imaginary girlfriend's been
You
around?
mean since I've known the touch of a woman? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yeah. When you start thinking the appliances are flirting with you, we got problems.
Hey, I'm telling you, this
She
thing
isn't wrong.
is I don't know. It's kind of sus. I think it wants to take me home and then have its real boyfriend show up and then empty my bank account. That's the way this goes.
It's going to empty its bank account into something, I can tell you that much.
It's going to empty my bank account. Because her boyfriend Tyrone with the knuckle tattoos is going to take my ATM card and my PIN. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Is that what we're calling it now?
That's
ATM
how
card
those.
and PIN?
That's a thing that happens. You take
I know.
you take some poor dude who doesn't know any better, and you have some honeypot, shake him down, and then the real boyfriend shows up.
wasn't that thing that pimps used to do too? Like they would have the girls go after like well-to-do guys, and then they would just jump him.
Oh, for a second I thought you said pants, not pimps.
Pimp.
Like,
Pimp.
holy crap, Mike Pence!
My pants are gonna get me.
I didn't know Mike Pence was running a racket like
Pence.
that.
I mean,
You said
considering
pants.
it's one of those things where it's like considering how some things go with some ultra conservatives, I would not be shocked if something comes out about Pence
Okay.
like that, shoe tapping and everything.
Yeah, probably true. Gosh,
Hairy knuckle tattoos. You're so 1980s. It's neck
Yeah.
tattoos now.
oh yeah, like the one hand that says love and the other one
Face
says hate.
tattoos.
Hate.
Oh, I'm putting out video at the wrong resolution. Oh, I'm actually still putting out not the hairy channel. Why don't you people tell me these things?
This is why we can't have nice
God,
things.
you people are useless. Okay, thank you.
This is why Elon Musk won't talk to me. We're not relevant enough.
Branding fixed. So I went to the restaurant supply store today, Functional. I managed to only spend $200 on things I didn't plan on buying.
Okay.
And I left with some
You
metal
say an air
scoops.
fryer are gonna come
No,
down
I
there.
got some metal. No. I bought an actual home grade deep fryer the other day. It's fantastic. It has like a little. It has a system built into it where you turn a knob and the oil comes out and it filters it and puts it into
self-filtering.
and it puts it into a container that you can then put on top of it. Press another button and it'll refill the fryer.
That's beautiful.
And all of the other bits just go in the dishwasher.
Is the trap easy to take out and clean?
You just put it in the dishwasher is what it seems like. I just took it out and took it to the sink and cleaned it. It was easy. It's actually not
Beauty.
It's not heavyweight. Like you definitely get this. This is made of home thickness.
Yeah.
You know, so no, this is not going to be confused with professional stuff. But in terms of a thing that I might use 2-3 times a month, maybe. I did when I was at the restaurant supply place buy a big old box of breaded frozen shrimp because I'm easy that way.
Nice.
Just don't try to deep fry a turkey.
No. I saw that episode of King of the Hill. It didn't go well.
Alton Brown actually has an instructional video on how to deep fry a turkey safely.
Have you
He
ever
doesn't-
deep fried a turkey, Skep?
Yes, I have. As a matter
How'd it go?
Went really well. That's a very common thing. We did that for years down here. There's a whole technology surrounding it. I never got good enough at it because I was always surrounded by people who knew a lot more about it than I did. So I watched them do it. But it's safe. It's a big old vat of bubbling, grease, and but it cooks up the turkey, and that turkey you'll never want a baked turkey again. That's one thing. It will spoil you for baked turkeys forever and ever and ever because it just tastes better.
I really do like smoked turkey where they just take like the turkey breast and smoke it like Croy's Market. I know Croy's Market is considered to be as sexy a barbecue place as it was in the past. Croy's Market still makes damn good barbecue.
Oh, sure. It's not hard to make good barbecue, believe it or not. That's why these little shacks by the side of the road in Texas are amazing barbecue, because it's not really very hard.
No, doesn't. Yeah,
it's not hard to do it right.
You don't have to be like. You don't have to be that Lopez Alts guy, Shemp Lopez Alts. I can't remember his name. Genji. You don't have to be that guy. Sort of with Aaron Franklin spending stuff on the weekend. You don't have to be a mad scientist to do barbecue.
Exactly.
You don't have to overthink it.
That's been clearly established.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel with barbecue. Good barbecue can be just very simple, very efficient. Couple ingredients. Oh, now I'm getting hungry. I've already had dinner. I made steak for dinner, and I'm already hungry again.
Have you got a 2-ingredient barbecue sauce?
Ketchup and ketchup, mayonnaise, and shit.
No, we don't put that in our barbecue sauce. Sorry.
Well,
I'm drawing a blank at the other ingredient, but I mean, if you consider ketchup mayonnaise a single ingredient, it's kind of like a sauce by itself.
Yeah. I've always seen barbecue as kind of that thing that you have to be insanely lazy to fuck it up. And there are people who are that insanely lazy.
Oh yeah, there's mediocre barbecue.
Oh yeah,
You can do it mediocre, but you're right. I think that's just not putting in the effort.
yeah, because it's
Just
not
isn't
that
hard to
hard.
make good barbecue sauce, and it's not that hard to slow cook meat. Period.
Yeah. Well, some people are idiots.
Yeah.
There is a place in San Francisco which I have mentioned before called Memphis Minis. The guy who runs it, he went around the country and did his homework and learned a lot about barbecue, to the point where when people in Hollywood make movies and they need a consultant to talk about barbecue, he's frequently the guy they tap.
Really?
He's a decent
Secondary
guy.
income.
Memphis Minis makes damn fine barbecue. Even in San Francisco, even in California, it makes damn fine barbecue. And I was looking through the Yelp reviews for this, 10 years ago. And somebody literally posted a review saying they didn't like it because the food was too smoky.
Why are you at a barbecue place, asshole?
Yes, it does.
Wait,
It seems like you stumbled into the wrong place.
There's too much meat. What's this emphasis on meat?
That's
Yeah.
like a vegan going to a vegan restaurant and getting mad that they use almonds too much. Like what?
Yeah,
Like what?
Yeah.
What? Why?
put them in the... Yeah.
Y'all sure into beans?
Let's see,
Yes.
what's going on in chat? Oh, Green Badger Outdoors. Gunski's here.
Oh God, Gunsky's gonna
He
run.
makes a good point. We should add that to the drinking game. When every time you say Shemp, take a drink.
If
These
we do
poor
that,
people. Hey,
That's-
Keever Dam.
That's yeah.
the
yeah,
liver's gonna die.
Yeah.
How many times Harry says
Ellen?
shimp? Especially when we start talking about foreign countries and it's
Yeah.
like listing names, their liver's dead.
And
I've
that's what
actually-
we do for the next 2 months is we give him nothing but foreign news.
I've started doing that in real life. I was really tired, so I actually just a few days ago told imaginary girlfriend about Shemp, about that thing, and I've started falling back on it IRL.
Don't cross the streams, Harry. You're not
I know.
supposed to start to.
Shemp,
It's really
Shemp
more of a
time.
cross-pollination kind of thing, but yeah, it's fine. I guess we should actually talk about something other than just a show about nothing, right?
Nah,
It's up to you.
Sure.
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. I mean, well, that was the thing. The show pretty much wrote itself today, but there's a few surprises. Okay, so this is a thing that happened, and not really all that surprising. Garland names Jack Smith special counsel for Trump criminal probes. It's about freaking time there was a special counsel. It turns out that if Donald Trump is potentially running against his boss, that there is a line where even Merrick Garland realizes he has to get a special prosecutor in there. I'm just going to throw this to Skep because I'm sure he's got a better hot take than I do on this. Do you want to talk about this?
Well, I think naming I think all of this is purely politically motivated. I doubt seriously that they are going to come up with anything legitimate to charge Donald Trump with. But yeah, the Jack Smith, who is a public professional lawyer guy, and long time bureaucratic fixture, will be in charge of piling up the facts and coming up with indictable offenses if any exist. I don't doubt that there will be. I don't doubt for a second that they want to indict Donald Trump. You can indict a ham sandwich, and so they will. They're definitely going to go after him criminally.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I highlighted a few parts of this. Merrick Garland on Friday appointed a special prosecutor to oversee criminal investigations related to former President Donald Trump. Jack Smith, a former chief of the Justice Department's unit that investigates public corruption, the Public Integrity Section,
AKA piss.
will take on the new role, which operates largely independently of the Justice Department control under decades-old federal regulations. The announcement represents a new phase in the blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then this little part down here I thought was worth mentioning. According to Garland's order, Smith will take over the entirety of the probe into the presence of numerous, not single, numerous, White House records and documents with classified markings at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida after he left office in January 2021. Smith will also take over the ongoing investigation into efforts to interfere with the lawful transfer of power following the 2020 presidential election or the certification of the Electoral College vote held on or about January 6, 2021, as well as related matters.
It's amazing how Elon reinstated someone's Twitter account where you can see their archived tweets that now kind of shoot some of that in the face.
Yeah, that was, let's see, was it in general planning politics?
Yes, I believe it was. I think Geodes put it up.
Or, the stuff we saw and heard with our own eyes. And
I know, but Twitter's...
to those of us who aren't insane.
Well, also Twitter, it's if it's still back to, like, it's a little bit more back upable, I guess. Who knows? But they'll indict him on something. They always do. I think it's in general. I thought it was. It should be further up. Geodes and I were talking.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just gonna make the fishing rod motion. I mean, it's just what they've been doing for years and years and years now about Trump. So,
yeah, it's in general. It's right above the CBS article.
Who's that? Because that looks like Jordan Peterson had a love child with Hunter Biden.
He looks like a very sad man.
No, that's a corpse, isn't it?
Oh,
so this would be the tweet.
Yes.
I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence, ! Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. I don't know, Serenity. Doesn't that sound like a dog whistle to you?
I know. And
do it in time. That's what they're going to say. All kidding aside, that's what they're going to say is that he waited too long to get that tweet in, and the damage had already been done. He knew
at 12:13.
Yeah,
that's what they are going to maintain.
He should have done it earlier.
They are going to fearlessly maintain is that he had all night to do that. He should have come out much earlier in the evening. He could have forestalled all that. He knew what he was doing, and as such, they'll say that he was effectively and principally contributing to the
Well, riot. I have a question because I heard rumor, and I never looked into it because it's a headache to try to look into it. Didn't he request National Guard and Pelosi turned him down?
Not that I know of, but you know, you would have to.
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah, you would. You know, that could be a he said, she said, where he.
I mean, if he did a formal request, they would have the recognition of the formal request on file if they even kept it, because they could have destroyed it allegedly. And if she denied it or just didn't look at it, they could say, well, he did request, you just didn't do anything about it.
Wait, why would he be requesting troops from Nancy Pelosi?
Was it the
DC? No, it was the DC. The people who were responsible for the security of the mall is who I think he asked for something. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because
Boxer,
Yeah. This is one of those things where the details are super important and also don't actually matter. I do recall that there was some request for additional security ahead of time, and people who are sort of in the conspiracy business around this say, well, look, because they didn't actually give it to them, it's almost like they wanted the thing to happen, yada, 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 allegedly.
That's kind of what I was trying to get across.
Exactly. I mean, they're just like a spurned lover. They will find a reason to be angry. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what he says or what he did or did not do. They will find a way to interpret it that doesn't look good.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just I'm making sure that I at least know some of the facts. And I love the fact the likes are still going up. I've watched the likes just continue to go up on his tweet. Yeah, no,
and not suddenly plummet.
Yeah, no, it's
likes not suddenly plummet and vanish.
It's jumped 2,000.
All been let go.
I could like it too while I'm here.
Well, it's jumped 2,000 likes while we've been talking because I've watched it recalculate itself.
Well, it just jumped one more.
Yeah, but it's even apparently the video is shown back up from what the guy right below that tweet said. says, is that the video of him saying it basically is to pop back up. But anyway, yeah, no, this is going to be another waste of taxpayer money, just like the January 6th thing was and everything else. But
Of course.
Yay, because that's what we need is a waste of tax money during a time when we don't need to be wasting tax money. But who cares? It's not our money. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Well, you know what I care about deeply is my nemesis Elizabeth Holmes was sentenced to 11 years in prison
She
for
got too
Theranos
easy.
fraud.
Yeah.
She got off too easy.
Well, I guess they asked for 15. I mean, part of the problem, again, this might be a go straight to Skep for a moment thing. The penalties for white-collar crime really don't feel like they're enough because even the prosecutors were only trying to get 15 years.
They're not.
Do you think it's okay to decimate the old definition, not the new one, the retirement funds of people? It's a serious business because a lot of people lost a lot of money. Maybe not their entire retirement, but defrauding, postal workers and other people like that who work for a living to earn a pension and then have a little 401k so that they get 10% less is bad.
The pain that this causes in the capital markets as well. Just the disruption in the business community, because all of a sudden there's a whole new class of people, very important people who they don't trust anymore, and they don't know how to get. Bankers are all about developing the trust so that they can suck the souls out of people. That's what they do for a living, and they can't get that. They don't feel they have reliable information because this woman turned out to be a bigger soul sucker than any banker who ever lived. I mean, she's just like a hideous zombie, golem of a human.
Don't you think she's the real victim, though? Growing up in a man's world and then having to fight so hard to prove herself that she just had to overcompensate because she could have been her true self if the world wasn't such a patriarchal shithole, but instead she had to be somebody else, and then she just got caught up in her own lies that she was forced to make because of the patriarchy.
Exactly. Yeah. Can't we say that she, like every other woman who ever lived, is raped 24/7, 365? It's just rape all the time.
Well, yeah, micro rape, but but those add up.
Yeah, well, I identify it as
they're like green stamps.
It identifies as regular rape.
Green stamps.
Well, apparently Cory Booker's getting dragged because he tried to go to bat for her. Because that was all over some of my Tumblr. Like he was like, she doesn't need to suffer, and it's like, and everyone's like, fuck you. Yeah,
man,
she does.
I swear to God, I would put her in a fucking oubliette. Swear to God, I would.
Yeah.
I would want her to suffer and get to think of, while she starves to death in a black pit. I fucking hate this woman so bad. She is just so destructive to the business environment. Creatures like this, they should be publicly gibbeted. Fucking hell.
I think if I was your boyfriend, I could have fixed her.
Oh, Lord. Uh-huh.
At least I'm amusing myself. Okay.
That's all you need to do sometimes.
Just, in honor of my first marriage, I'm just laughing so hard.
Well, okay, aside from the fact that she's like a super predator for guys like me,
right? Exactly.
I just want to know if
she would have chewed you up and spit you out.
She would have, yeah. She would have broke you.
Yeah, she would have broke me all right. I'm so glad I never ran into her.
Oh my God, you were so lucky.
Be that as it may, aside from punishing her, which I'm actually less interested in than sending a strong message to the next person who thinks they're going to get away with it. I really think that the people who just make shit up to get to take, millions and millions of dollars, we need to make that be a thing that becomes unthinkable.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it
that
doesn't
needs to
feel
be a
like this. This
value.
doesn't make it unthinkable. This
No.
makes it kind of like, well, you know, I probably won't get caught. Seems worth it to me. Territory.
No. It's worse than that, Harry. On the liberal side of the coin, on the progressive side of the coin, she's kind of a hero because she ripped off fat cats. She got better on them. You know, they
Oh
don't
yeah, she
understand
ripped
how
off
that-
some pretty savvy people.
Yep, she did.
Well,
So I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Happy to
Trying to go.
report that one of those was Larry Ellison. But please
Well,
go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's true.
the really funny thing is like it's somewhere in this article it talks about like she had 130 like letters written for her, and some of them were investors, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are you the kind of guys who like have the wife at home, but she's an overbearing bitch? So then you go to the other lady, and then this way you can act like you're a man or something. Like, are you those type of guys? Like, what are like what the f, man? Like, that's like beat me harder, mommy. Like, what is this? Like, it's so pathetic. I'm sorry. Like. She defrauded you out of money. She's a crazy bitch who changed her own speaking mannerism to be more mannish, I guess. And we're just going to act like she's not insane. Those are crazy eyes. In both those pictures, those are crazy eyes.
Well, she's definitely a sociopath.
Those
Oh,
are
I wouldn't.
Yes.
I don't know if she's crazy.
No.
I know you mean it in a you know, like
Yeah.
satirical way, but
Yeah.
I have a hard time wrestling with this because it's not direct violence, but it can be violence, as Skep was alluding to, in robbing people of 401ks and smaller investors from people who, without those investments, they will suffer physically. They will suffer. It's just a matter of it's going to take a while for the suffering to come to fruition. And yeah, like the part of me wants to see people who do defraud people like this, and in other similar manner, to get a stiff hard penalty, but then Harry's stiff hard penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Giggity.
But I mean, like, it's not.
Love that humor.
I'd be afraid to put it at the same level as direct violence, as in just pure number of sentencing years. So I'm a little conflicted on stuff like this. I think she's a total fucking yeah. I'd have no problem throwing someone like her in an oubliette. I think there should be special exceptions for rules.
Put the picture that I shared, Harry. Put that up on the
sure.
screen for just a second. She can look crazy.
Oh, God.
She can look crazy.
Oh no! I think for an earlier art thing we did, I had a whole folder full of images of her with crazy eyes.
Yeah.
It amused Geodes quite a bit, I believe.
Oh, yeah. No, it did. He was dead for a little bit because of that.
All right.
I like this one because the left eye shows the bulge that shows the tumor behind her that makes her extra crazy. You know, I hate her. I hate her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate
Every
her.
once in a
I don't hate her, but I hate this sentence. I really don't think this is enough to deter other people.
Definitely not.
How about life without possibility of parole?
Well, what did the Tycho assholes get? Do you recall?
Not nearly enough, but they got a lot more than this. They got like 4 times as much as this. They got like 40, 50 years.
Well, it is funny, this sentence. Prosecutors had asked the judge for a 15-year sentence, while Holmes's defense attorneys had asked for 18 months of house arrest.
What?
Yeah, 18 months of house arrest, your new rich trust
I'm
fund
sorry.
boyfriend. Yeah, that sounds like a real cushy thing. 18 months of house arrest, that's not even one COVID, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
2 weeks to slow the curve.
Yeah.
The Tycho guys got 8 1/3 to 25 years in prison. So I was not 40 years, but 25 was the top year.
Yeah, 25. Because I don't think what she did is really any different than what they did. Just make up the numbers.
I think they all should go away and never see the live data again. Let them spend the rest of their lives in prison.
Yeah.
Because this is so far beyond the pale of like what you would normally think of just a little bit of investor or white collar crime, as they put it. Like every once in a while, you get somebody just so incredibly evil, like her, the guys you mentioned, Enron. Like there's these things, these people that just they're so evil. Yeah, she's wearing black and white striped stockings.
Well, I don't know if anybody. I'm not sure if anybody other than me wants to talk about this, but I really do want to talk about this next thing, just because I feel like out of our little corner of the internet, I might have more relevant life experience in this area than some other people do. So bear with me. So Elon has been helping people self-select their way out of Twitter to sort of thin the herd. And God, people are coming absolutely unhinged about this.
Oh yeah, it's a little weird. Like, I saw people giggling about. They're like, the payroll department left. It's like, okay, that's what happens.
As I've said to people who I've talked to, I said, well, you do realize that leaving things the way they were was not a sustainable answer, right? You go, well, what do you mean? I said, Twitter was garbage. Okay, technically it wasn't really advancing in any sort of useful way. They were putting almost all of their energy into moderating people who didn't need to be moderated, rather than giving people tools to moderate their own feeds. It's like, you shouldn't have to look at a bunch of crap that just annoys you. Just give people tools to filter that. There are so many ways Twitter could be made better that weren't getting made because the group of people who were just living off of the cash infusion of the stock shares that had been purchased. Because Twitter as a company was not really viable the way it was being run.
Money. Yeah,
it wasn't making any money. I mean, we're still competing for mind space 15 years later. I mean, come on, guys. This is ridiculous. At a certain point, you have to grow up and be a real company.
Right. You're supposed to have conquered that by now.
Yeah.
You know, don't you remember the business plan?
Yeah, we're going to lose money on each customer. We'll make it up on volume.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably wondering how we make volume, losing money on every customer.
Yeah. You wouldn't understand. This is
when you start finance.
When you start talking about like price to earnings ratios, that's just old dinosaur thinking from the previous century.
Yeah.
Earnings don't actually matter anymore, Skep.
Well, that is and we don't need a lecture on technical versus the technicals of the market, but there is a group of people who believe that earnings have become irrelevant. The fundamentals, is that stockbrokers refer to it, of a company, the underlying finances, the assets to liabilities ratios, the income to expense ratios, the current ratios, current debt ratios, some of the more important things. Those things don't matter at all. Nothing about that matters. All that matters is the greater fool theory. Who will buy the next share of stock at what price? And sadly, there's, beyond the basics, there's a lot to be said for that theory. The problem is that when you have that many forces, as Harry knows better than any of us, mathematically, there's nothing you can do to forecast that the kind of movement in the short term for that kind of a price movement. So it's made the market really in the last 40 years become even more speculative, more risky than it was if you're buying individual issues. That's one of the reasons that mutual funds have become so popular, is that they spread risk. They are risk spreading devices, and allow you to play all or part of the market, the broad market that you want to play. That's actually the way that I invest. I've had a lot of training in finance and securities, and that I was a stockbroker for Merrill Lynch, for God's sakes, and I do nothing but buy well-performing, well-managed no or low load funds. That's the way I buy most of my stock. I have just a few individual issues. I buy mostly. I buy funds that are carefully put together.
Well, let me pivot us away from that for
Sorry,
now.
didn't
Well,
mean-
before I start talking about that too, and then we're never
I
going
have-
to end.
Yeah,
I have a
you and I
really
will
quick-
talk about it for.
I have a
Go
really
ahead,
quick
Senator.
question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because Elon owns it, or his whatever owns it, can't he like ask like people from the Boring Company, like people who work for him, to still be compensated to like do some of the work for like pay? Like we're gonna use payroll as an example. Like, can't he ask the Boring Company, hey, just keep these things separate, but payroll of the Boring Company, can you also do the payroll for the remaining Twitter employees?
He
Like,
can
can't-
make a phone call and just outsource it more easily.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
that's what I mean. Like,
it's
can he
much
just-
better. Okay, he could very easily take staff and transfer them from one to the other. Commingling the payroll processing of two completely different business entities would be a bad idea. He wants them to be absolutely separate for
Okay.
reasons like, for instance, if this thing just loses all of its money and goes to zero and just blows away, he doesn't want there to be any linkage between this and really any of his other companies, to the extent that such a thing is possible. But he absolutely could put somebody on a leave of absence on one company, like somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, and bring them over to Twitter and have them work at Twitter for a while. That
that's-
is totally doable.
Well, that's the thing I was kind of curious about, because like you see these people who don't kind of understand how businesses work celebrating this. They're like, oh, he's just thrown Twitter into the ground. It's like, no, it's fine, guys. Like, it's not what you think it is.
He
Because
probably won't pull anybody from Tesla. He'll probably go outside the company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
bring in a neutron Jack, Jack Welch
Yeah.
type. Which is he's sort of done the neutron Jack thing already.
Yeah.
I think when he came in and said there is unbelievable waste in this company, and that's what I think he did when he walked in the door. He's
Should probably clarify the nickname. That's a person who basically kills off all the people but leaves the building standing.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
when
a
you need to
neutron-
reduce headcount, you get a guy like that.
A neutron bomb is an atomic weapon that tends to kill people but leave buildings standing. It has relatively low blast, but it releases a bunch of neutrons, which
But
go
that's
through
not
everything and
important
kill
right
all
now.
the people. But that's not important right now, anyway. Sorry.
That's okay. I feel like you're trying to bait me into being worse. That's the thing. It's like, don't start talking about neutron weapons, or it's gonna get
I know,
really
we're gonna
boring
have some
for
fun.
everybody.
We'll talk about slippery neutrons.
But
It seems like
go ahead.
seems like he's learning with the employee situation, let's say, in that when he walked in, he got rid of entire departments, and then he said to people, hey, you don't want to work here, let me know by the end of the day, and you'll have your 3-month severance and you can take off, no hard feelings, whatever. But then a couple days later, maybe the day after, there were some people in those departments who were already on the chopping block or terminated, who said, well, no, I still really want to work here. I just, I had to keep my head down and, keep my job or whatever. Who would work in like the trust and safety department or something, just using that as an example. I don't know the details. Nobody really does except for him and the company. And he hired some of these people back who were like, yeah, I really just want to keep working here. None of the people that you see that woman who had the Twitter vlog of her day at Twitter, and like,
Oh, that
wine
her,
on
yeah.
tap, wine on tap. That should have been the immediate, like, to me, the second I saw that, I would have been like, you know what? Nope. If I had Elon's money, I would have been like, nope, close it all down. Burn the fucking building. But that's
So I was thinking about showing that video again, but it seems like everybody's basically shown it. So it's basically a day in the life of a young woman working at Twitter. She shows up, sort of gets her free, organic, free-range acai granola something or other, and it's just goes from there, goes to a series of meetings. It's pretty much just
in the yoga room,
free massage time. Let's take a nap, maybe spend some time in the puppy pen, and then at the end of the day, it's just. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they show the food. And I can tell you, this is one of those things that I think people outside of Silicon Valley can't quite wrap their head around. When this all started, Silicon Valley culture is about long, long hours and a lot of hard work. And people would stay really late. The meals started...
And Pringles.
The meals started out to serve two different purposes. One, they were to make it so that you would not spend as much time going out and trying to get meals outside. Now, this was bad for the communities surrounding these places. They did not want Twitter and Facebook and these places building these cafeterias because it wasn't really good for the local restaurants at all. But Twitter wants you to show up, be happy, and get back to work. And this is true of Twitter, Facebook, Google. And when people don't have to go wandering around and driving and leaving and coming and going, imagine that traffic jam going back into Google every time lunch is over.
Good Lord.
It's a huge mess. So it just makes good sense to actually sort of feed these people on site if they're working really, really long hours, right? You're just trying to get the most out of these people. Now, are they pampered? Absolutely. Have I eaten at some of these places? Yes, I have. And it was very nice. It was very nice. It was a good quality of food. It was a lovely little experience. Wouldn't mind working for some of these things. They also will do things like if you bring laundry bags in, they will do your laundry and give it back to you cleaned and folded. They will... in some instances, there are mobile garage places that will come to the business and change your oil for you in the parking lot while you work to save you time. It's just more than you could possibly imagine. But this is the race to basically see if Google can get the better employees away from Facebook, away from Twitter. All of these big companies are competing with each other for the top resources of people. And in some instances, it's cheaper to feed them than it is to try to bribe them away, right? So if you can pay somebody $20,000, $30,000 a year less because they don't want to leave because they just enjoy working somewhere, what's so wrong with that? That's just good business. So when I hear people talk about, I think it's a fair criticism. That video was pretty bad. I mean, especially the wine on tap and...
Yeah, that
that was really beyond the pale. But at least some of it is something that I think is kind of hard to understand. We used to, back in the 90s, and even in the aughts, people would just work so many hours. When first time I was working as a manager, I had people that I had to tell them, I don't want you to log in. I don't want you to come in. I want you to take a week off, and I just don't want to hear from you.
Yes.
And if I find out you logged in remotely, I will kick your ass because you just need to stop working. And this was not just, isolated. This is what the things were like. I've worked crazy hours, and I still do.
He's got the knuckle tattoos to prove it.
Man, I'm telling you, if Elon, you want to throw enough money at me, I will come and I will run your shit for you. It's not a problem.
I'll sign up for that too. I know what information technology business can be like, being on a project where you have to get a working version of a code base out by a certain date. You simply will stay at work until the work gets done. You will sacrifice showers, meals, and everything else. You'll subsist on, as I said, Pringles and Jolt Cola until your demo is working.
Well, Joel's right. Some people do live in a van out in the parking lot, but not all.
Not wrong, Joel.
I was just about to mention here. I'm not going to mention the company, but they're a very prominent video game manufacturer, distributor, publisher, whatever. They have a hotel on site, and I got to stay there for a free massage.
Oh, I know which one it is. Then, if you're saying which one it is,
Yeah. And I got to stay
Instead,
there
they
one
have
night
a free
because
massage
of a
parlor.
meeting. And
They probably do.
No, they have
they did.
they have massage chairs.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
With the video game industry, it's even worse, air quotes, than say Silicon Valley, because and like social media platforms and these big tech giants, in that the crunch times are much more concentrated.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're pushing that deadline the last couple months before a game is supposed to be released, you'll be lucky to breathe, never mind have any semblance of a personal life. You belong to the fucking company. So it's there in the company's best interests to make sure you have food and water. Like you're a hamster. You have food, water, fresh bedding, all these things.
And a wheel to run on.
Yeah,
And
every
a wheel to run on.
every
Yeah,
100
because if
lines
you
of
need
code,
to
a
step
pellet
away
comes
from
down
your
a
computer
chute.
for 5 minutes.
Damn right.
What?
The area is not wrong.
Every
Also.
100 lines of code, a little pellet comes out of a chute. It's programmer chow.
but then your trade-off is, once that release happens, if they're a reputable company and they don't treat you like an actual fucking slave, you have 3, 4, 5, 6 months of just downtime, like very relaxed, and then the next project happens and it ramps up until that release date starts crowning, and you're in it again. You're working 16, 20 hours. Yeah, I know.
Interesting choice of words. Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say, even in the construction industry, that kind of thing happens, but on a much more fiscally conservative, let's say, scale, in that, like, yeah, if you've got a rush to get this job done, we're talking specialty construction, not the type of stuff you see on the road. You need to get this stuff done on this house or whatever, and you're reaching crunch time. Yeah, your boss is going to feed you. Your boss is going to bring you treats. Your boss is going to give you a week's vacation after this big project has been completed, because they want that retention and they want to keep you happy. They don't want you to go, you know what, that job fucking sucked. I hated working 16 hours in the day. I'm never coming back again. No, they want you to be like, you know what? It was hard work, but my boss showed that he appreciated me, that I'm valuable to this company, and I want to come back. I want to keep making these big bucks and being treated like I'm worthy to this endeavor.
Well, there are a bunch of people who are basically disgruntled former employees now running around. So the amount of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's being thrown about Twitter is pretty extreme. So this is from an Ars Technica article: critical systems in jeopardy after staff cuts. Ooh.
And
Though
though
Musk's
those critical systems are.
Yeah, though Musk still has at least some employees. A Washington Post report, because the Washington Post knows a lot about how Twitter operates,
Oh yeah.
suggests some groups won't have enough people to keep things running for long. Man, I wonder how many of those groups have been 50% understaffed technically, with job openings like forever. But yeah, whatever. Recent departures left multiple critical systems down to 1 or 2 or even 0 engineers, according to a former employee who is familiar with the situation and spoke on the condition of anonymity out of fear of retaliation.
And has no reason to lie whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody here is acting in a completely forthright. Yeah, Joel's got it. He says bullshit.
Yeah.
I know of 6 critical systems, like serving tweets levels of critical, which no longer have any engineers, the former employee said. There is no longer even a skeleton crew manning the system. It will continue to coast until it runs into something and then it stops. Now, I'm going to press X to doubt, because I know something that most people probably don't know, because I'm in the business. When you look at places like Twitter and Facebook, they run, when you talk about the actual servers, the server monkeys who run around and keep those things running, one person is typically responsible for, I kid you not, 30,000 servers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It is such a science that when it comes to just sort of the maintenance of things, there are systems in place to deal with all that stuff. You actually don't need a lot of people to tread water for a company like Twitter. But everybody's a freaking expert. Everybody knows so much about it. So this person under the name of Mosquito Capital says, I've seen a lot of people asking, why does everybody think Twitter is doomed? As an SRE and sysadmin with 10 plus years of industry experience, 10 plus years, I wanted to write up a few scenarios that are real threats to the integrity of the bird site over the coming weeks. Okay, 1. Random hard drive fills up. You have no idea how common it is for a single host box to cause cascading failures across systems, even well-designed fault-tolerant ones with active maintenance. Where's the box? What's filling it up? Who will figure this out?
The system pings it when it tells it when it's filled up.
Theoretically possible, but no, this person is an idiot.
Yes, no, this is bullshit.
This is bullshit on a stick. This is absolute bullshit. Physical issues with the network takes down a DC. I guess he means data center domain controller. I gather Twitter is primarily on-prem, and I have seen what happens when a tree knocks out a critical fiber line during a big news event. You, Mosquito Capital, do not know what the fuck you were talking about.
Yeah.
I have been. Hold on. I have been to multiple data centers that contain Facebook and Twitter systems. Shut up, you moron. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't centralize that kind of stuff.
He talks about bad code push, site goes down, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying Twitter couldn't fall down, but I think if you keep with a company that's as bloated as Twitter was, if you keep the right 10% of the staff, which is I think what Elon's trying to do,
over strategies like
they could be fine.
One after another.
I'll tell you the part I don't know. The answer I don't know is I don't know what the carrot is with this, because Elon's got a long history of just sort of firing people. He likes doing it. It's a very Jobsian sort of thing that he does.
Yeah.
Now, where is the freaking carrot? Because if you were looking at Apple, a lot of these people who worked hard for Apple, they retired early. They made a ton of money, right? And I'm sure that the people who work for Tesla, the ones who actually use the employee stock purchase plan, made a ton of money. Because you look at what's happened with Tesla stock, right? He has made a lot of people rich. So but this is a privately held company. I don't know what the carrot is, because if somebody came up to me and said, you're going to work a whole ton of hours for the same money that you've been working for, and I had the option of just working somewhere else instead, because there's a lot of people in the valley that are hiring, I would just say, go pound sand, and I would leave. Not because I'm lazy, but just why would I take a shitty offer? Where's the carrot? And everybody's lying so much, I don't know what the carrot is. There's got to be a carrot here, otherwise nobody would stay.
Well, it's one of those things also, how over bloated was Twitter with
hugely
employees? And that's the thing. It's like that's the thing of like they were over bloated with employees. So most of these people who are a single engineer now are probably like, thank you, God in heaven, the morons are gone. I can do my job now and do it right without having to fix their shit all the time. Because I've known people like that in like Knox and stuff like that, who were the real people behind the intelligence. And it's like, we're not going to know anything for weeks from now, if anything, actually. Like the fact that Twitter didn't crash within 2 hours of all this proves that this guy's full of shit. Like, it's nothing centralizized like that, because nobody's that stupid. Like, just calm down, Mosquito.
He's talking about pushing new code. Do you think that anything new is going to be implemented while he's trying to figure out where the fat is so he can start trimming it?
No.
Like,
I don't know the technical aspect of it, Harry, but immediately, like, I can tell this is just pure ass talk.
Well, I'm doing a lot of argument from authority, and I am genuine. I'm not pretending to be pissed off. I actually do find this coverage to be kind of stupid. Now, Elon may be completely overplaying his hand, okay?
Yeah.
I get that he's trying to call things and stuff, but people are making statements that just aren't true about a lot of this thing. Now, if you look at what Twitter is, it's got all these subscribers, some real, some fake. And you take in tiny little messages and the occasional image attachment and a little bit of video. If you look at what Twitter has to do, it's not really that big a deal. It's not something that requires that many resources in the big scheme of things, for a company that had a $45 billion valuation, I guess, because that's what he bought it for, right? it's not really that big a deal. You don't need 100,000 engineers keeping this thing running. You know,
Yeah.
even with 7,500, I'm sure he can probably trim a lot of those people off. I just want to see what the carrot's going to be. So for the people that stick around, if he makes this thing work, are they going to share in the wealth? And if so, kind of how?
Well, it's also like, just look at Tumblr. Tumblr doesn't have this level of staff. They've been bought and sold off multiple times. You can post so much more wording. You can put videos on there. You can put pictures on there. I know they don't have a 20th of the staff that Twitter does.
Yeah. Concerning some of these people that got fired, I think you'll like this. This
but
comic.
it's like Tumblr's had its moments, but it's been running fine for years on staff that's probably a lot smaller than Twitter. Like, get over yourselves. You don't need that many people.
No,
and
you
there's
don't.
going to be a lot of people in my generation and the older Gen Z who are going to have a very rude awakening once a lot more companies start to realize, well, we don't actually fucking need you, so you can go away now.
Yep.
And they're no longer the ones just quitting. They're now getting fired because they're not actually useful.
I love him firing people over Twitter, though. You know, like employees making stupid comments, and he's like, well, you're fired.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Steve
Exactly.
Jobs, but this is great. Social media guidelines. Assume that we read what you write. Remember that we pay your salary. Make the connection between A and B.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any questions? Can tweets be deleted?
Yeah,
Need
exactly.
to be complicated.
Man, I love one FTE. All right. So here's the thing that happened. Earthquake rattles West Texas. It was a 5.3 earthquake, which of and in itself, not terribly interesting, right? Earthquakes happen, but there's a paragraph in here that annoyed the shit out of me. Research had shown that earthquake in 2020 was likely a result of deep water injection, which is a byproduct of fracking, but not fracking itself. Right now, what's going on there is a large volume of water has been injected into West Texas, and that seems to be the root cause of some of the earthquakes in West Texas. Wednesday's quake was the third strongest to ever strike West Texas. The strongest on record was a magnitude 6 quake that struck blah, blah, blah in 1931. The second strongest was 1995. Now, both of those quakes, which were larger, happened without any fracking whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Am I confused?
No.
So I did what any thinking person would do, and went and looked at the data for this this earthquake. Okay, this is all fine and dandy. Here's a little search that I did back to 1800 of earthquakes over 4.5 in that region, and you can see that a number of them have occurred, and many of them in this list over here on the left predate fracking by a good measure. So there definitely have been more little earthquakes that have occurred. And I'm not saying that fracking hasn't caused an impact, but saying that a particular earthquake is the result of fracking is like saying a particular tornado or hurricane is the result of global warming.
Well,
It just irritates me because it's dishonest, and I think it makes people lose. It causes a loss in credibility in my mind when somebody says something like that. Because it feels more like they're trying to use an event to justify a point they're trying to make rather than actually being scientific about it.
yeah, they haven't done enough fracking out there. First of all, the tremors that they are discovering in places where they're fracking are not widespread, nor are they particularly powerful. The ones that have happened around Dallas, Texas, there's a city just west of Dallas called Irving, and they have fracked in and around that area because there's quite a bit, and the soil has become quite unstable in some areas. Fracking really can have an effect. It really, truly can. We see this. Irving's got a lot of problems, and it seems to have to do with fracking. But they don't happen over as large an area as what they're talking about, and the tumblers that come are completely different in every characteristic they can identify in an earthquake. They're not as powerful. obviously different, in type from the massive earthquakes they're coming up with. I doubt very seriously that the amount of fracking that's been done in West Texas for that amount of area, I doubt that's enough to even cause that local phenomenon that is happening in parts of East Texas does seem to be legitimately linked to fracking, but I don't think that's what's happening in West Texas.
Well, there is a nice string of 2021 and 22 earthquakes that just sort of cropped up that are a little unusual. So I'm sure the fracking has some effect on it. However,
it seems to, but we don't know what.
But we don't know. And making a statement that's, although there's a little bit of wiggle room in there, it really seems irresponsible to make a statement like that.
It is. You're right, Harry.
Yeah, because humans bad.
Yeah.
Would you say
white men doing the fracking, right? Sorry.
Go ahead, Functional.
Sorry, Functional.
Don't be sorry. That made me laugh.
White men doing fracking.
Would just to play devil's advocate a little bit, would you say it's equally as irresponsible to use a technique like fracking without knowing the possible consequences?
Well, you can't know all the consequences.
Well, possible is one thing. Probable is another.
Probable.
It's like a game theory thing. So it's like you have to weigh the benefits to the risks. And that's the way a lot of things are. They're never really all that straightforward. I think that the risk of like a massive earthquake happening are probably pretty small.
Yeah, but I mean, also just in general, not specifically to earthquakes, but because we know that there is some environmental damage. I don't know particularly enough about fracking to say anything definitively myself. I just know that I see how the oil companies have acted over the few decades I've been alive, and I don't trust them.
Yeah, well, Functional. So you can find video of places where some guy will turn on the tap, right, and then put a big lighter next to it,
water,
and it'll ignite as water, and it's like you just want to go, well, there's your problem, and then the oil companies are like, well, no, that didn't happen, and he'll say, well, here's video. Well, you just made it up. That's just Photoshop. And they'll just go back and forth like, no, it's not. Yeah. It's like the Norwegian blue parrot, the dead parrot sketch from Monty Python. Exactly. You killed my pirate. No, it didn't. Pirate. Yeah, God, I have a headache. Okay. So I actually skipped something because
when you said probable possible.
Mm-hmm.
All I could think of was probable possible my black hen. She lays eggs in the relative when. She doesn't lay eggs in the positive now because she's unable to postulate how.
That's lovely.
It's because she identifies as a rooster.
It's a Linux poem.
So anyway. I wanted to show you something that I was sort of amused by in escalating levels of amusement. Okay, here's a short. Let's see, hopefully you'll get the audio. Nope. Of course you don't, because it starts out with it.
Turn off autoplay. I like it.
I like that. So that's one of his little things. What about that?
A phone holder for your toilet paper?
It's a phone holder that goes next to your toilet. I like this. I think this is a good use of woodworking. So it'll hold your beer and your phone so you can watch hockey while you're on the toilet. That seems like a good idea, doesn't it?
Lord have mercy.
I'd rather just have a TV.
And then this one, I will never be accused of pouring myself more than my wife again. So it's a balance scale for wine glasses to make sure you fill them evenly.
I want one.
I know.
I don't even
think about how many fights it would just eliminate.
And then you just got to find a way to weight one side that you always put your glass on just a little bit more naturally in the pendulum, so she never realizes it.
Yeah, just put your thumb on the scale.
When will you men learn women are property? It doesn't matter what they say. All that matters is that you occasionally treat them to something like a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Joking, of course.
That's what Twitter used to do, and look at where it got them. Just
That
put
was-
the wine on tap.
On tap, on demand.
Uh,
I can't deal with. I must have heard or I must have read the N word 17 times today. I need a breather. Oh my god.
But anyway, this is Thompson Woodworks, and the guy has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of really kind of cool woodworking projects, and I like it. Thompson
Yeah.
Woodworks. So, this is something I do not like.
Still no sound.
Opening, I know, it's opening every window with the sound muted. This is fantastic. I'm so happy about this.
To pass
At
by
US
the
no.
crowd.
Burn Center after
The
being
winds
injured
would have
when
been
one of his
coming
cars
away
caught
from the
fire.
crowd, so pushing
Okay.
him off of the crowd.
This
In
is
other
driving
words,
me
what air show
crazy.
performers call an off-crowd wind, which is
Okay.
How's he able to talk like that without?
I don't know, because I decided to autoplay one of the earlier videos just to piss me off. Let's try this again, this time for real.
Recovering at
Harry,
Grossman
this stuff
Burn
with
Center after being
technology.
This
injured
boomer
when one of
moment
his
brought to you
cars
by
caught fire
Harry Check.
Sunday.
We're now learning those injuries were far more serious than we knew. Eyewitness News reporter Denise Tador is live in West Hills with the latest. Denise.
Well, Philip and Giovanna,
They
it
are
all
not
started
sending
over
us
the
to their
weekend
best.
where comedian Jay Leno was working in a garage in Burbank on his famous specialty cars. He was transferred here to West Hills, and his burns are much more serious than he originally let on. What? Inside the Grossman Burn Center in West Hills, comedian Jay Leno is undergoing aggressive therapy to heal deep second-degree and third-degree burns.
Mr. Leno underwent what's called a surgical
Name
excision.
What is
title.
with the- What is
Wait a second.
with
You
hair?
think I was
Oh,
running it?
Jesus.
Name, title. I love it. Yeah. So all that initial press release about Jay Leno being more or less okay, nah, not so much.
They probably just didn't want to panic everybody and start people doing stupid stuff because that
What
does
did
happen.
what procedure did they do on him?
Surgical excision and grafting procedure to his face, his chest, and his hands.
Dr.
Oh.
Peter Grossman says
They
So
removed
basically
the dead
reskinning
stuff
him.
and replaced it with
Blah.
other stuff from other parts of his
But
body.
we need to know what percentage of the skin was replaced.
Yeah. Well, we know the areas that were covered. It's it's like half of his face and then some of the adjacent area. So.
I hate to say this, but that's the kind of stuff you survive.
Oh, he is going to survive. He is going to survive.
Just sucks.
It bothers me because I can't remember if I pointed this out or who I talked to about this, but Jay Leno is a stand-up dude.
Yeah, he is.
He goes to
Absolutely is. A
I
good guy.
I have multiple friends who hang out at Laguna Seca and race. Some of them race at Laguna Seca too. And this is a thing that people with idle time on their hands in California do.
I love going to Laguna Seca.
You reach a
Don't
certain
knock
level
that.
where you basically start doing track days with your car and stuff, and they will also do the classics. And Jay really likes the classics. That's where people take very, very expensive old cars and drive them around in sort of a race. I'm doing air quotes. It's not really a race.
Yeah.
But Jay just comes down there and he starts looking at everybody's cars and going around and talking to people. He's been doing this for a long time. And he is, he'll just talk to people. He's just like a regular guy.
He's one of the most naturally extroverted people on earth.
He's just a regular guy. He treats everybody with respect.
Mhm.
And he's interested in what people say. And you will see if you watch Jay Leno's Garage, he'll find some guy who's got some little product. And he'll invite him on there and give them exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I can tell, he doesn't get anything out of it other than the satisfaction of helping, some guy in America who's got a business out of
wouldn't
his
take
garage.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't take anything.
No, Jay Leno's a fantastic human being.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's I know people who have met him, and know two people. Well, one who knows him a little bit, and that's exactly what I hear also.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So it pains me to see him be injured like this. I mean, he'll be back, and he's probably going to be a little funny looking, but it'll be interesting to see how much all the money in the world can basically buy you in terms of reconstructive
I was
surgery.
going to say, if anybody can get well from this, he'll have the resources to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean the things that these surgeons can do these days. Quick side: my aunt had basically half of her face and chest ripped off, and it took a few years, but I was amazed at the work that they could do even 15, 20 years ago, and it's only gotten better since then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's a real shame because I'm not a fan of his comedy, but as a human being, yeah, I've heard nothing but great things. Man, get better, Jay.
Yeah, and as a car guy, I have to admire kind of an old guy getting a little pudgy, and it says, "Yeah, sure, I think a motorcycle with a jet engine powering it sounds like a good idea."
Why not?
Because I can.
What the hell? What the hell?
It's got a sign on the back that says basically stay back, jet wash. You'll melt some. It's like if you get too close to his motorcycle, you'll get your front bumper melted.
Jeez.
Well, anyway, I appreciate Jay Leno and the stuff he does. And I am
When did this
sorry that
happen?
he's just this week, just a few days ago.
Just a few days ago.
This was 3 days ago that this was released, and it was 4 days ago that the injury took place.
Okay.
So hopefully there will be a good update coming on Jay Leno before too long.
And yeah, Joel, he never was woke. He was purely about the craft and about talking to people.
Well, to see him interview when he's been in sort of semi-candid discussions with Craig Ferguson, you get a real sense of the guy.
Oh, I love Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
too. I love him.
They
He got
seem to be pretty good friends.
screwed. Well, he also got screwed, but that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, God.
Giggity.
I just accidentally allowed notifications from India Times. Okay, well, we'll fix that later.
Oh, no.
Evidently, Tim Allen went to visit Jay Leno and said he spoke with TMZ as he was leaving the medical clinic in West Hills, California, explaining that things are looking good for Leno after he suffered serious burns in a garage gasoline fire. Quote, he's feeling better, end quote, Allen said in a clip. He took his car magazines, we did some jokes, which is what we do. We commiserated. So
Nice.
it sounds like he's, Tim Allen said he's going for the George Clooney look. You're going to be surprised. He's handsome and he's happy, and the hospital's doing a great job taking care of him. So it sounds like he's going to be okay.
So there was an article that Geode sent me. Study finds leprosy has potential to regenerate livers. Now, you've got my attention with a headline like that. It's like,
Wait, what?
I'll read the words more slowly. Study finds leprosy has potential to regenerate livers.
Now, this is Hansen's disease, has the potential to regenerate livers. This is the Molokai leper colony, Hansen's disease, leprosy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they found botulism
I'm
can help
game.
with migraines and stuff. So,
Yeah, well, this is a little weird. So what they
In
found
Nancy Pelosi's face.
was
How does this work?
it's not clear. They say that basically the bacteria causes the liver cells to almost act like you basically stimulated them to produce more stem cells. It's some weird epigenetic type of argument that they're making, and I can't tell if it's complete bullshit or not.
Yeah, I couldn't either. From
Hang on.
article.
I'm reading through this thing.
it looks like they're talking about reprogramming, like basically the leprosy causing bacteria to kind of do it.
Yeah,
To
you
not
want
do the bad stuff and only do the...
Yeah, you want just the
rebooting
mechanism
of the
that
liver.
helps your liver, not the
Yeah.
part that makes your arm fall off.
Okay, livers of the infected armadillos also contain gene expression patterns, the blueprint for building a cell, similar to those in younger animals, human fetal cells. That's what they're trying to
Yeah,
rejuvenate.
if this works,
Hepatocytes, yeah.
that would be. If I was dying from liver failure, and somebody offered me leprosy as a cure, I'd be like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Because a lot of people die from liver failure. If there is even any potential at all that something useful can be learned from the interaction between leprosy and human liver cells that helps people, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
There's a bunch of weird stuff like this, like some of these Coronado bioscience things where they'll actually take specially treated parasites, like I think they're pinworm type thing, not pinworms, hookworms that get in your intestines. You'll take them in a little pill. They will basically go in, they will attach to your intestines as they do. They secrete chemicals that basically tell your body, nothing to see here, move along. Yeah. But those same chemicals that try to trick your body into not rejecting the parasite also can calm down all kinds of autoimmune diseases in the body.
Yeah.
So
it's a cheap corticosteroid, basically.
Well, it's better because there just aren't any terrible side effects from it.
Right.
It's not like taking steroids. It's not like taking scopolamine or methotrexate or high doses of steroids.
Well, you're not artificially suppressing the chemical response.
Right.
Intercepting the chemistry of it. You're actually intercepting the organic process, which is better. Yeah.
Well, there is, and then these things, rather than reproducing in your gut, they die, and you poop them out, and you don't even know they're there. So
goes trouble down the drain.
I'm totally in favor, if we can find ways to trick nature into helping us instead of harming us. I'm all for it.
Well, you got to be careful with that, because sometimes these nature's adaptation to adverse circumstance can lead you down another dark trail. Think about
thank God Sanguine isn't here right now.
Yeah, sickle cell anemia being an adaptation to deal with malaria.
Hey, fewer people died from getting both of those genes than were dying from malaria before, so it's...
I know.
What Skep's alluding to is that sickle cell anemia is a recessive trait that a lot of Africans have, people of African descent. And if you have no factor there, you basically are susceptible to malaria. If you have one parent's gene for sickle cell, you're highly resistant to malaria, meaning you can get bit by mosquitoes and you're fine. If you get both of the parents' thing, then your life sucks because you have sickle cell anemia and you're going to die early. But if everybody's dying from malaria, on balance, this is a good adaptation. It's kind of evolution 101. It's one of the classic examples.
We can go down the rabbit holes all by ourselves.
Well, no, Sanguine will start talking about that mushroom thing that caused people's DNA to stop functioning. And yeah. Cordyceps. He'll start talking about cordyceps.
Right.
We miss you, Sanguine.
And we love you, Sanguine.
Let's see. Okay. So leprosy. So I know this is going to come as another shock to you. Science alert. Tiny particles in the air may trigger sudden heart attacks, study suggests.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Well, we've sort of known about this for forever. This isn't even particularly news, but they studied air quality in Singapore and arrived at the conclusion that shitty air can cause some people to have heart attacks.
Shitty air bad?
Shitty air bad.
Impossible.
Tiny particles. I was thinking about the 9mm particles.
They're talking about
particles that we use here in Texas.
Like 2.5 micrometer particles is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I look at this thing and I'm like, okay, sure. This is one of those articles that people put out because they want to convince you of something. They want to convince you that the thing the government's going to do is actually in your best interest and not something you should fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way this works. So I dug into this just ever so slightly. I found this thing, a new study, California's trailblazing diesel rules save lives.
It hasn't been long enough for those to be actually proven that they save lives.
Well, there's a chart. You want to take issue with the chart? Here.
Yes.
Here's the chart. Look, there's
How long
a chart.
is the chart?
And it shows percentage change from 1990
Just
and it
very
shows
clearly,
diesel
very
particulate
clearly.
mortality going down, and
that
it
is a
shows
chart.
percentage of amount of diesel being used per year going up. And look how it's
Charts aren't
going up,
wrong.
but the number of deaths is going down. This clearly says everything that is to be said, and there's absolutely nothing that's missing in terms of information. You should just
Yeah.
believe the chart.
Yes,
Yes.
there is. There's so much missing.
I know, that's why I was going to bring this up. Tell me, Serenity, what do you see that's missing from this chart? What pieces of information are we not getting from this article?
Everything. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, it's...
Well, we could start with it doesn't actually factor
what happened
in.
in 1990? Tell us what 1990 was, so we know what percentage change.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like,
we're talking about.
You'll notice that there's no absolute numbers anywhere on here except for the
Yeah.
dates,
All,
right?
all
So
relative.
it doesn't factor in how often. It doesn't factor in the advances in medical care too, because it just talks about people who die from it, not cases of like lung cancer.
and it only goes to 2014. It looks like.
Who made this chart? Seriously, Harry, in my stats course in graduate school, if you handed a chart in like this, you would not pass your assignment.
Dude, this chart was in science.
Yeah, that says right there the source right there.
This was in
Do not
science.
in
say
2021.
It was. Unfortunately, my AAAS membership, I need to re-up it, or I could show you the freaking chart, but I don't have it. I don't have access to it right now.
that.
Yeah,
But
but this is not a good chart.
what's like what are the parameters beyond? Like, there's so much. Like, what's the parameters? What's the
Yeah.
actual numbers? Why are they both coalesced in 1990 and then shoot off from each other?
It doesn't.
Why-
It doesn't tell you anything. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why does
you
it stop in
cannot tease
2014?
any useful information out of this because, as Harry pointed out, it's relativistic all the way through.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that gives you any absolute, even an idea for how big the problem is. This is a completely worthless piece of crap.
What's like also like the data came from Science in 2021, the magazine, but the information stops in 2014. Why did it stop in 2014? You'd think you'd get more
Well,
information over COVID.
That's probably when some studies stopped, or probably the last day they have
when it's one of those things like there's
data for.
nothing here.
How did the deaths get reported?
Yeah.
How are the deaths classified? You know, what are the actual? You want real numbers, not just relative values.
Yeah.
Right.
There are a whole bunch of things that are wrong with this, but of course there are some easy questions that we could ask. So if this is true, right? Look at the huge drop in diesel related deaths. In fact, we're down 80% from where we were in 1990 in terms of the number of deaths, right? So you would think California, we got this shit figured out, right? Everything is going great.
In a vacuum, yes, but knowing California, you don't.
Let's see. Deaths by dirty diesel.
Oh,
Here's
wait.
here's a thing here. It says air pollution impact from diesel. Again, just believe these numbers. Don't think about it too much. No annoying thinky stuff. If you look at all the states and you look at deaths by diesel per capita, the numbers from these same people seem to claim that California is the worst. So the policy that's totally and absolutely working that has resulted in 80% fewer deaths still has left California as the worst in the country. Which of these two things is correct? Because it seems like they both can't be correct at the same time, or almost certainly aren't correct at the same time. I'm just using their data. I mean, this is, based on their data, California is the worst in the country. So how can you claim that trailblazing diesel rules save lives when in reality it seems like we aren't saving any lives at all? We're the worst in the whole country.
Yeah, is it just another thing like with California is with crime where it's just not being reported?
Yeah, so like which one is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's California. Cancer risk from diesel soot in California. 1 out of 49. We're number 1. Look at that. 100%. So they have all of this data here. Here's actual numbers that were reported for deaths, heart attacks. See, they knew about the heart attacks too. It's not rocket science, but they just have to put out these articles from time to time to scare you. Anybody who's been behind a diesel thing kind of goes, yeah, I don't want to breathe that.
Yeah.
It's time to roll up the windows and put the vent on recirculate.
Yeah.
That's what that switch. That's literally what that slider on the AC is for in your car.
Mm-hmm.
It should just be labeled the "I'm behind a diesel" knob, because that's the only time you would ever change it. Sorry.
It's just one of those things where it's kind of like, so, and the chart also, like, what do they consider a diesel death? Is it just from cancer? Is it just from heart attacks? Is it just from bronchial issues? Like, because obviously you're number one in something.
Just believe.
I don't want to.
Just
I don't want to, Harry. Shut up.
I can tell you that California wants to get rid of all diesels by 2040.
Oh, I know. I heard about that. Yeah. It's like, just make yourself not the biggest shipping port.
Laugh while you can, because it's coming to your state too. We're just the preview. We're just like that little flap on the package of bacon where you lift it up and you can see what the bacon looks like. That's what California is. We're just like the foreshadowing of it's all coming everywhere else. Except for Texas and Florida, the rest of the country's all going stupid.
Hey, mine's not. Thank you very much.
Not yet.
I am ready for Valhalla. Fuck
we
it.
are super red. We are not.
I'm done with this world.
Let's see. Where is your state? Okay, there's Virginia.
I'm right there.
I found it. My geography's not that bad. So let's see. You're actually looking pretty good in terms of people dying from diesel smoke.
And most of the diesel high stuff we get are near major cities like Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Deaths, 42. I think one of them was named
Texas look?
Fred. There's Fred.
Texas, you all have Dallas, Fort Worth, and all that stuff, which is what causes the problem.
Yeah, basically
like
it's the big ports that cause most of the damage.
Yeah, it's Houston. DFW also though.
I think the only reason why our diesel deaths aren't higher is because we're a train state. West Virginia is. So the trains just come through because we have all the depots, so you don't have to worry about the diesel deaths. Everything else is the problem, including obesity and opioids.
Look at that little thing on the left tip of Texas. That's El Paso.
I figured.
That's just because that's where the highways come together.
Yeah.
And Geode's saying his state's next. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, they're coming for you, Geodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fun of any kind.
Callie says jump New Mexico crashes through the roof.
So is Functional still with us? Did we lose him?
Well, he said he'd be right back, so he may be dealing with a cat thing or getting food.
I can't talk about this next thing until Functional shows up.
All right. Well, we'll make sure.
His icon is still there, but
yeah, he just said be right back in the side chat. It looked like.
Do I have anything? Do I have anything that will entertain us until Functional shows up?
Well, I mean, we're easily entertained, Harry. That's a stupid question.
Yeah, just go on.
Just tinkle.
Memes. Okay.
Yeah, he had to tinkle, Harry. God.
Okay.
Mediocrity is my favorite.
Yeah.
Talking about California, might as well relieve myself.
Okay.
Gotta get the bat out somehow.
All right. So I wanted to talk about this, and I wouldn't do this without you, Functional.
Hey, get off my phone.
All right. Dragonfly. This is from the Johns Hopkins physics lab.
Oh, I haven't heard about this.
Dragonfly is a rotorcraft lander, part of NASA's New Frontiers program, designed to take advantage of Titan's environment to sample materials and determine surface composition in different geologic settings. Essentially,
awesome.
they've got a freaking copter that they're going to fly around Titan, which is the big moon, one of the big moons around Saturn.
Fuck yeah!
Not only is this son of a bitch super cool, it's going to go for years. Yeah. And you know why it's going to go for years? Because it's nuclear powered, bitches. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
Baby.
It has got
plutonium
nuclear. Fuck yeah!
It has got plutonium-238. So what they do is they put these things in this stack, and then they encase it to make it nice and safe in case it blows up on the launch pad. This bad boy has what's called a multi-mission. What is that? Multi-mission THT. I can't remember what they're called. I forget what the acronym is, but basically it's a big stack of plutonium with a bunch of devices, little thermocouples that turn about 10% of the heat from the plutonium into usable current. So not only does it power the systems, like it produces like a couple hundred watts of power, but it can actually keep the electronics warm enough that they function okay.
Right. Yeah.
So what this thing is going to do is the days, I think, are like 16 Earth days long. So during the day, this thing is going to basically fly around on these lithium batteries that it's got that get charged by this nuclear power pack. And then at night, it's going to basically just do some sampling and a little bit of science and charge its batteries for the other 16 days. So this thing is going to cover a huge amount of distance. So when you look at the density of the atmosphere and the relatively lower gravity, I think you only need, 1/38th as much power basically for it to work there as it would on Earth. Titan is a uniquely suitable atmosphere for something like this, because a lot of these other planets, there's not enough atmosphere to be able to do much of anything, but it's got a dense atmosphere and relatively low gravity. So building this little quadcopter thing with its nuclear battery, this thing's going to be there for like 3 years, just exploring all over the damn place. We're going to get a really good view of what Titan is like before this is done.
Freaking cool.
It is. Well, the whole New Frontiers program is actually pretty freaking cool, because I was trying to put this in some sort of context, because I talked a little bit about what the flagship programs were. So the Discovery, the New Frontiers program here, it says tackle, specific solar system exploration goals identified as top priorities, blah, 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 blah. So these
no, don't skip over that, because there's an important
The strategy is to explore the
planetary
solar system
science community
with medium-class spaceship missions which conduct high science return investigations to add to our understanding of the solar system. So this is not huge amounts of money, but big bang for the buck. So these nuclear batteries are not that easy to come by. NASA has the fuel from Oak Ridge National Laboratory to make 3 of them. One of them is going to go in this mission. So this is important enough that they're going to use some of the limited amount of nuclear fuel that's available to make these things for this mission. Absolutely fantastic stuff that they're doing with this.
The first mission. Wait, go back. The first mission was to
not
obtain a close look at Pluto and its moons. And this is the planetary science community.
Yeah.
Ergo,
what are you trying to say?
Sunfish army coming from Pluto for Harry.
Pluto is a planet.
No,
Yeah.
It has moons.
it's basically a moon.
It's part of the planetary science community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Sunfish
New
is-
Horizons was another mission sort of in the same scale, right? But I think this Dragonfly thing is going to be wicked cool. I think
really
this is
neat.
going to be really, really outstanding. The way we're going to get there is actually super cool too. Let me see if I can maybe make this a little
Oh, look at that cute little
larger.
fella. He's so adorable.
So this is the path that it's actually going to
love
take.
it.
Okay. So we have Earth launch, theoretically in 2025. And then it uses Earth's gravity to get a little boost. It does like a little pass by where it grazes, and Earth's gravity accelerates it without capturing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that happens, a year after the actual launch. Then it loops around by Venus to get a little bit more speed. And then it goes back by the Earth again to get yet more speed. And then it does another pass by the Earth to get even more speed. And with this series of maneuvers, it's actually able to get the velocity it needs to get up to Titan. And it's still going to take about 9 years, 9.5 years to get there. Part of the problem is that Jupiter is just not in a convenient place, because normally we would use Jupiter to gravity assist to get us to Titan, and Saturn a lot faster.
It's never around when you need it.
But Jupiter's just not going to be available. He's not reliable.
Jupiter.
Yeah, it's like when you've got a friend with a big truck and you need help moving, and at the last minute he says, "No, I can't help." And
Yeah, it's
Jupiter
not like-
better be careful. We're going to take away his planetary.
you're going to
status.
U-Haul and getting that one trailer
Yes.
with the wonky steering wheel.
It's not like it's possible that Jupiter's protecting us from meteorites all the time and taking the hit for us. No, not at all. We're just gonna
Doing
get
something-
mad about it's not right where we need it when it needs to do the.
Exactly. But it's going to take a fair amount of effort. But once you launch this thing, it's a relatively good size science project. And learning about Titan, I think, is going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just really excited about it. This makes me want to be alive in 2034 because I really want to see what's going to come back from this thing.
And that's when the little green men are going to show up and poke it and go,
Yeah.
"Can't you alien fuckers stay away from our planet, please? Thank you."
It's going to happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because one of my favorite celestial bodies in our solar system is Titan. Like,
giggity.
For me, that was, people were like, Mars. I'm like, no, man. I want to know about Titan. I want to know about Io. I want to know about like Uranus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for the Spaceys.
Okay.
Harry says Uranus.
Is there ever, in the relatively near future, as in 10 to 15 years, do you think we'll ever have the capability of getting a probe like all the way into Jupiter and then back out, kind of thing?
Oh, the gravity is so bad that would suck.
Okay.
It would be really hard.
no.
It would be really hard to get
into
to do a
Jupiter.
return mission
Yeah.
from Jupiter of any sort.
Like, or like,
You would- What if
build
you
it up.
used a really long cable?
Yeah, like a crazy straw.
Yeah.
So
we could
Jupiter
plug
didn't see
the
it
eye.
coming. Yeah.
We could plug
Yes.
the eye with Stacey Abrams' Skep.
They didn't see
Well, I mean, could we possibly have the ability to do something like we did with the sun, where we had that probe just kind of go in and we knew it was going to burn up anyway? But we
Oh
just
yeah,
kinda-
we do. We've dropped things into
Jupiter and
Saturn.
Yeah.
Saturn both.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we
And,
don't ever retrieve them because it's
it's
just
just-
impossible.
I
Yeah, well, they
always-
get crushed. Basically, they go down and they get crushed.
I've
I
always
think.
just been curious about Jupiter.
They burn up.
Well, I have a thing about Webb in terms of the near-infrared spectrometer on the Webb telescope, which is it's going to take a little bit more work to put that together.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about the 2 Venus missions that are coming up next week.
There's a lot
has
of
the
planet
web been
jokes.
productive or what?
Oh God, yes.
Oh, it's been a workhorse.
She's done very well. She should be very proud.
What,
I'm saying.
what are James Webb's pronouns?
We're gonna go she. 'Cause
Ass and
everything
kicker.
mechanical is she. All cars are
That's
she.
what. Okay.
Are they?
That's what I've always been
Ligma
told.
and Johnson.
Ligma Johnson.
He's certainly not a white male.
Oh, speaking of white males, hold on. There was another thing I was looking at. Let me talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I
don't know if
look
you
up an
saw it,
article.
Skep, from like, it was earlier this week. The web they published another photo of a discovery they made of like one of the oldest galaxies that was like
Oh yeah.
hypothesized like it was only 350 million years from the Big Bang, and I was like, you don't get much from that. You get like that cool wow factor, like, hey, we discovered a new thing. We know nothing about it, but we discovered a new thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went, because it wasn't visually as appealing as seeing the hand of creation or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was
Okay.
still like, these are the things I've been so giddy about the Webb
Oh,
telescope sending back to
Are
us.
we gonna do the Shockley thing?
We are
William Shockley?
just
Holy
ever
shit.
so slightly. So
Transistor.
Shockley was
No,
one of the
racist.
co-inventors of the transistor, and he may have
an
dabbled in a
insane-
little casual racism and eugenicist stuff.
Utterly.
I mean, if they're
nuts.
fine with Planned Parenthood, they shouldn't have a problem with him.
Well, what I don't understand about these people is they seem to be the people who talk about stuff like this. They seem to be completely incapable of separating the man from his work. I can look at a guy like Noam Chomsky and go, in his field, genius.
Yeah.
Talks about politics, idiot. Okay, I can separate. I don't claim just because Noam Chomsky says dumb things that somehow has anything to do with his actual work.
Roman
Plus-
Polanski, great director.
Great
Should be
director.
castrated and fucking hung from a tree, but
Fantastic director. One of the best.
Well, there's
but
also
he
the,
diddled children, so
Yeah.
fucking execute him.
there's also the fact of like, okay, fine, he was a casual racist. How about you take the thing he created and do good with it? This way, it gets overshadowed by the amount of good it did, in spite of him being a bad person.
Well, the reason
Like-
I was bringing this up is because it segues to the Webb telescope, because
Yeah.
we talk about that. Now, there were people who want to get out the big racist paintbrush and use it on Webb. And aren't people in the past allowed to not be as woke as we are? I mean,
Nope.
aren't you allowed to be an idiot? Yeah,
No,
it's-
that's the whole
No.
problem with Columbus when he colonized the good Native American people who were living here in perfect peace, harmony
they weren't
with
killing
nature
each
and
other.
themselves. They didn't hurt one another.
Mhm.
There was peace. They even had flying cars, I understand.
Yeah.
And Wakanda was in ascendancy.
Yeah.
And the white man came over and fucked it all up with our cell phones and our bad
The wheel,
sitcoms. Yeah, the wheel. The whole
animal
wheel.
husbandry, totally ruined that country.
Well, luckily they couldn't find anything that really would stick to James Webb, other than, well, you were around and should have done something else. They tried really hard to find some evidence of Webb being
they
responsible
really?
for fire. Yeah, so it says in an 89-page report, NASA's chief historian Brian Odom, aka Shemp, describes a survey of more than 50,000 archived documents. Man, 50,000 documents. You got to have a real hate boner for somebody to look through 50,000 documents to find a mistake they made.
The whole thing.
But hey, it
going
only
after
took
the-
him 8
the gay
years.
Guys. Yeah.
The Webb was involved in what was known as the Lavender Scare.
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very scary to me. Okay. No
Well,
evidence
so-
directly links Webb to any action or follow-up related to the firing of individuals for their sexual orientation, the report says. As a Department of State Undersecretary, Webb attended 2 meetings in 1950s in which the anti-LGBTQ plus campaign, not a thing at that time, by the way, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
There wasn't any LGBTQ plus campaign to protest against at that point.
Yep.
He gave senators information stating that homosexuals were unsuited for employment in the department, but tried to limit congressional access to the department's personnel records, the documents show.
In 1950, was it just LGBT?
No, I mean,
Or did they have trans?
I don't think
they
there
didn't
was
really
an anti-
recognize
in 1950,
trans.
2 years
back then.
before I was born. They were.
Well, like they recognized lesbianism because they had the novels, the freaking porn novels that were written for women that were lesbian novels.
Well, and also mythology, and
Well, yeah, and they have recognized gay, but I don't think trans was something they actually recognized. They just thought you were a freak.
yeah.
And
Well,
I'm not saying trans people are freaks. I'm not saying.
Well, there were lesbians, there were gay men, aka like artists,
Yeah.
and then there were basically people that they broadly would lump into the category of birth defects and degenerates or something, which
Or
was
they
not
would-
exactly progressive thinking.
Or
But
they would lump transvestites and transsexuals into the same thing, and they're not.
Well, views change, right? I mean, whatever. I mean, I'll tell you, my grandfather wasn't particularly happy about gay people.
Yeah. It's the time of which they lived. It's not
People
that,
would make jokes about stuff, and just sort of, it was just very casual. Hey, did you hear about Billie Jean King? She got a new sponsor, Snap-on Tools. Okay.
Yeah, like
That's a quality joke from the 1970s.
It's the quality 1970s.
It
but we
matters
don't do
more
that
if-
anymore.
Remember the Snap-on tool truck?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it matters if people change, but no one actually wants it to matter if people change unless it's someone they like. If it's someone they don't like or someone they can have control over, then it matters what they did 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. But if it's someone they actually like, oh, no, Planned Parenthood, no, even though it was created by a lady who wanted eugenics, no, that's
Yeah.
fine, that's fine. It's
She
like,
was
no.
primarily a eugenicist, if you really want to know the truth.
Oh, yeah. But it's one of
That
those
was,
things.
that was improving humanity was her whole shtick.
Oh yeah, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like beyond the normal shit of rapes and murderers and all that kind of stuff. I don't like hypocrites, and that's the thing that always makes me mad. Is like, stop being a hypocrite. Like, shut up. Like, if you can let it go for this one person, you can let it go for everyone else.
Darwin had some weird ideas. He was part of this ridiculous club where they would just eat weird animals. So he basically wanted to like Pokemon. He wanted to taste them all.
Yeah.
So he would eat, like, let's have some eagle, let's have some badger, let's have some whale. He would just, whatever weird animal they could find, he and his buddies would just sit around and munch on weird animals.
Yeah.
Now,
This
by
is
modern
like
standards,
asking for a parasite.
eating whales, that's terrible, right? We don't eat whales, at least in most of the planet. Although I've heard that in certain
depends
parts
how
of
you cook 'em.
Scandinavia, they have shirts that basically translate to whale, smart food for smart people.
Here too.
But yeah, it's a thing. But I'm not going to dismiss Darwin's contributions to science because he had some weird eating habits.
Yeah.
Including eating some things which I think is pretty morally questionable whether they should have been eaten.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Interesting thing about Shockley is you find people trying to take credit away from him for the work that he did back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's the worst kind of rewriting of history.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the direct quote. It's not coming to me, but you know the saying of holding the standards of today to the people of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. I don't know what the quote was, but it was something akin to those are the types of people that aren't worth listening to. I mean, is it any surprise?
People are talking about communism. I thought
commies.
There.
Commies.
I love
colleges
some old time.
Have to hire
like
red
some
professors.
Old school anti-communism.
Look at that old kooky red professor lecturing those impressionable young kids, filling their ideas with hokum and
you know how he's a red
solution. How do you know?
The bow tie.
The bow tie. Yeah, the red bow tie.
I love that. I love that.
People wait for bread. Capitalism bread waits for people.
That's the truth too.
Oh, this one falls under the should I or shouldn't I category.
At least they had bread.
Do it. Do it.
At least they had bread.
Probably.
God.
I hate
Really,
fucking
Harry?
communists. I hate communists.
Schemberg.
Okay, enough about that. There's another thing I wanted to show you. So, Serenity maybe knows about this. You know a few neo-pagans, don't you?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so you're acquainted with the Rider-Waite Tarot deck.
Yes, I am.
Haven't you ever looked at the Rider-Waite Tarot deck and thought, I think it needs to be more diverse?
Oh God, no.
Oh yeah.
No, it does, doesn't it?
No, does it?
Does.
So, tarot is.
Oh God, they make him
diverse
fat
now?
and hairy.
Hold on, now I get sound. Okay. Here we go. Here's the
magician is black.
Here's the
infinity.
majors, yeah. The priestess is black.
Or
I don't know what the
Latino,
BJ stands for. Maybe it's Black Justice. There you go.
Probably.
Black Jesus.
There's an empress. You got to have some white women in there. And of course,
Probably a lesbian.
Yeah. The emperor is black-ish.
Did she just color them in?
This is a major. This is the Wiser Tarot people who
I know
actually are putting out a whole new set.
Oh,
wait, there's a white
interracial.
person? Is that a white person?
And we were kings and stuff.
We was kings and shit.
Yeah.
I love the fact
That's
that
a
white
woman.
person's still
She's
strength.
a strong woman.
Yeah.
But it's a woman.
Yeah, she's
Well, I
got
mean, the
infinity
strength
over
card
her head.
is, I thought, was a woman with the lion.
Yeah. But yeah, they've
Oh,
basically taken tarot decks and made them woke.
Oh, there's worse ones. There's the body.
Oh, I know, but
positivity
this
ones.
is Rider-Waite that's been modified.
Oh, yeah.
You can make your own tarot decks. There's some
Yeah.
super cool ones. I think the one that I told you about that I really liked was the one with all the Japanese yokai on it.
Yeah, that one was
The
really
weeb
cool, yeah.
the weeb tarot deck.
Yeah.
The weeb
Hey man, the
or-
Weeb Tarot deck was still
Tarot
cool,
for
man.
weebs.
Yeah. But it's like, I think because the Rider-Waite Tarot deck has fallen into commons.
The
They
Fool
can
is
now-
still a white man, by the way. Just
Well,
so you
well I
know.
mean, the ironic thing is that she doesn't know
Imagine my
anything.
shock.
Well, the thing is that shows that she knows nothing about tarot, because the Fool is actually a good character, because this entire tarot deck is the Fool's journey,
Mhm.
and that's what it's supposed to tell. So the Fool is a very integral, very big part of the tarot story. So that shows she knows nothing.
Well, considering that a lot of neo-pagans are basically also the Venn diagram between neo-pagans and woke white women, sort of the pumpkin spice community, there's a pretty good intersection between those two. I'm surprised that it's taken this long for them to go back and say, well, we need to just sort of fix the old classic thing that everything else is based on. You want to make your own tarot deck? Fine. Right?
Yeah.
But it's just, again, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's been around for a very long time, but that's ours now. We're going to just make it ours and just start changing things. And again, I do not have a dog in this fight. Okay. Doesn't affect me. I just get annoyed seeing these terrible people get their little tendrils into every possible community. I mean, I'm sympathetic because just don't change everything. Don't change history all the time. Make a new deck. That's fine. It can be the Wakanda Forever Tarot deck.
Oh yeah, no, it's and also just to because I have to be that
your brother will
asshole.
betray you.
Yeah,
sorry.
I have to be the corrective asshole because I know way too much about Hebrew. I know too much about Tarot deck. The B on the pillar and the J on the pillar stand. The B stands for Boaz. The J is for Jashin. They're meant to symbolize stability. They don't mean black justice. I'm just putting that out there. They were there beforehand.
I was really kidding, but yes.
Well, oh no, I'm saying that because a lot of people may not know that they've been there since the inception of the card. So
maybe now it means black justice.
It probably
that occurred to you.
But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, yeah, it's a lot of people make a lot of tarot decks that don't understand what they are, but that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, it's just it's all very diverse, and I'm sure that the quality of people's readings will go up dramatically now that there's better representation on the tarot cards.
And I love the fact that they changed the name of the deck. They're not calling it the Rider White; they're calling it the Wiser Tarot or Weiser.
Yeah,
it's like no.
The Shemp Tarot.
Yeah,
this change is long over.
And
yeah,
geodes.
It's
this time.
The point of emergency.
This one time geodes, I'll allow it.
Why? What did he do?
This is
violence?
Terrible.
To the corner, geodes. To the corner.
You know, a lot of the trouble with these decks that people put together is the quality of stuff is just not great in a lot of cases.
Well,
it's really hard to get small batch stuff made up, you know, like where the quality is maintained. Both of the card stock and any kind of gilding that happens on the edges, and it's a big undertaking to make one of these things, and do it well. Sorry,
it's also like it looks like such shitty watercolor. Like the original wasn't like. It was like you had like where the print color didn't match up perfectly, but that was part of what made the deck. Like this, it's just like you can tell even on that, like they couldn't even get the shadow around the guy's face right because you can see the bleed of the red there around the edge of the face and the hat. Like it just looks like someone went, all right, we're gonna slap some color on this bitch and then move on. It's like, go fuck yourself. And like apparently there's the channel that you're showing, apparently the only thing people are complaining about is the fact that the black skin tones seemed a little lazy. It's like that's what you one, it's a renaming of a tarot deck that should never been renamed, and two, that's what you're going with.
It's like an anime that sucks in every possible way and then only complaining about the bad CGI.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's more than just the bad CGI, guys. Like and apparently this is not even
writing
out yet.
Sucks.
Writing sucks. The acting sucks.
Yeah. This isn't even out yet. Like this is for pre-order. Like someone literally went, well, I'm going to be a lazy fuck and just took the Rider Waite and just recolored it. That takes no time, especially with how terrible they did. Like this is such a money grab, and
they basically Tropic Thundered it. That's
Tropic Thunder.
It's like
you never go full retard.
Nothing to do with the mythology behind the cards. Just make your own. Stop being lazy fucks and just make it your own. And yes, Green Badger, I also have the HP Lovecraft themed deck because the art is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, as one does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an occult person, but I I have a lot of friends who are, and I know that I go on full rant mode sometimes, but I'm pretty freaking tolerant of other people and like their little idiosyncrasies and quirks and stuff. I don't actually surround myself with people that agree with me about everything. I have a lot of friends that, you know, are into things that are just not me.
Yeah.
You know, political and social and mythological and all that sort of stuff. But you know, I can see
real diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the thing I think will be very funny, and this kind of goes with the neo-pagan thing, is that when this generation of, and like the earlier generations of neo-pagans, because I've already started to see a little bit, and like Wiccans and all this kind of stuff, and their kids get older and their kids go, you gave me a shitty life. because you were too religious. Because I've already started to see it happen. And because most neo-pagans, not most, some neo-pagans only went into it to thumb their nose at their parents for being Christian. That was it. Like, there was no other reason, because you can tell there's no other reason, because they don't understand what they're talking about. And it's like, oh, just watching because some of them started to reach teen years, and they're like, I don't like my mother and father's religion. I like Christianity. And just watching them melt down. Oh, mwah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I gave some of these as a gift, and I almost bought some of them for myself. I really like these.
Yeah, they're really good. Like, they feed into the culture of what it is.
And they're actually well made.
Yeah. Like, it's like, mad respect for that. Like, that's not lazy. That took time. They had to redraw the art. They had to figure out their color story. They had to figure out everything, which legends and things would go with. So that's not lazy. The other one's lazy as fuck.
2,598 backers pledged $215,371 to create those. Who says there isn't money in helping Gucci booted pumpkin spice drinking neo-pagan people get things? There's a lot of money in this sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, God, the fake ass crystal stores on Etsy prove that. I have a citron pyramid that's worth $300. You need to pay it, and then you get it, and you realize it's only cultured citrine, and it's not even worth that much. Oh, I've watched that meltdown happen a few times. I'm like, you all are idiots.
Yeah.
I love being on the edge of the pagan thing because I know a lot of stuff, but then watching it all explode.
Well, Dragonfly is going to be cool.
Yes.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we are pretty much done for the night. Any final thoughts from anybody?
I hate Twitter.
You hate Twitter?
Well, from the way things are going, Functional, it hates you back. So I think you're in good company.
Well, didn't you try to troll Elon and you got banned in like 3 seconds?
I hate Twitter faggots. I mean, just yeah, no, and actually, I tried to create an account yesterday. 6 seconds until I was suspended for. It was semi-trolling, but like. Responding to something Elon said. He said, what should the company do next? And I'm like, crash and burn. But that's not likely to happen because you just spent $45 billion, so pipe dream. And immediately suspended. And then today I created a third account and I literally just signed up, put in the phone number, everything, logged in, see my feed within 3 seconds. Boom. Account suspended. I don't
Sounds
know
like it's working to me.
what is going on.
Sounds like everything's functioning exactly the way it was designed to.
It's as far as anything I have left, I just will say this based on my own romantic experience. Say it with flowers or say it with mink. Whatever you do, don't say it with ink.
Yeah. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Just saying. Take it from one who knows.
All right. Serenity, you got anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. You have spent the last 2 hours with us on the Minions of the Zoo Saturday Panelpalooza, named to be changed at some point in the future when I think of a better one. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
You don't